mentioned in the very first video that Audacity is what's called open source software, which means it's free. But what happens is whenever someone develops an open source software, they tend to release it into a community of developers who are then free to add bits to it. And most of the stuff that's been added to Audacity can be found in the effects menu. Now, we touched on the effect menu very briefly in an earlier video, but we're going to spend a wee bit of time looking at some of the effects in here. Now, some of the effects are very effective, some of them less so, and some of them you'll use all the time, and some of them you'll never touch. So let's have a look at some of them and see what we do. I've imported two songs, or two pieces of music. Made with the Flaxen here is the first one, which is one of the demo songs that comes with Windows. Let you hear that. And you can see the other one is Shaka Khan's I Feel For You again. I've got that muted so you're not hearing it. If I undo the mute and put the mute on there, then I play from the start, you'll hear Shaka Khan. Chaka 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 Khan. Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. So we'll have a look at both of these in a wee second. So I'm going to mute Shaka Khan again and bring back Made with the Flaxen here. So the effects we've looked at already is basically the fade out. At the end of a track. You can see there's a fade out and been applied already to Shaka Khan there. Fade in works in exactly the same way. You select an area and fade in, and it will start from zero, from silence, and work its way up to the full volume. That's all as you would expect. The three that I like to mention first are the change pitch, change speed, and change tempo because they're very effective. I'm going to actually use the Made with the Flaxen here again. So there's the sound we're looking at first of all. But the effect I'm going to use first of all is change pitch. And that changes pitch without changing the tempo. Okay? You can either do it if you know the key of the piece you're in, or you can do it by semitones, or you can do it by frequency. They're all linked, so if I do one, they all change anyway. So I'm going to go from wherever I am, I'm going to go up 2 semitones. Okay, there's a preview button. So you can hear it's in a new key. So if I cancel that just now, that's how it sounds again, the original. Apply the effect, change pitch, up 2 semitones, just click OK. There it's now. Now that can be very handy, obviously, if you're singing or playing along with something which is an awkward key for you, you can change it to suit. That's all as you would expect, that's fairly straightforward. The opposite side of that, of course, this was changing the pitch without changing the tempo. The opposite side of that is to change the tempo without changing the pitch. And the same thing applies there. So for example, I can change the pitch by a percentage by using the slider, or I can change the beats per minute. If I know what they are, I can change it from there to there. Or, interestingly, if I know exactly how long I want it to be, I can change that. And that can be very interesting. Let me cancel that for a second, and I'm going to jump back into the Shaka Khan track. So there's how that sounds. In fact, I'm just going to make a selection first. Let me select that sort of area there. Okay, so that sounds... Just giving you an idea. Okay, so we're changing the tempo. And let's make it about 20% faster. So the preview of that would sound like... So the quality's good, it doesn't degrade too much. Where it starts to degrade is particularly if you're going down the way in speed and you go to silly lengths. Okay, so if I go down, for example, to about 23%, you can start to hear a little bit of degrade. If I go down further, it gets silly then. but you're going to get that anyway. So you wouldn't want to go too far. So I'm going to just change it up to, let's say, in fact, I'm not going to do N because I've only selected part of it. But that's how that would work, okay? So I would select the whole track, like so, go to Effect, change the tempo, let's say 20% further up, click OK. And that's that done. You now see it lasts less time because obviously it's quicker. But if I knew how long I wanted it to last, let's say for example I was using this as a backing track to a video, and the video lasted a set length of time, and I wanted the music to last the exact same length of time, I could then use that feature to make this last the length of time that I need. If I go back up to the Made with the Flaxen here, select the whole track. Another option up here is to change the speed. Now the speed affects both the tempo and the pitch. So this is like basically playing a record at the wrong speed, so much so that you have the option of where it started and where it finishes. Okay, so at 33 1/3 is an LP speed. I can play it at 45 or 78, which is 35%. And how does that sound? So it's obviously higher, which I don't want to do. I can make it up to 78. This will sound a bit silly. Okay, or I can just make it a percentage myself. So I might want to make it a wee bit higher or a wee bit faster. There we go, it's changing it there for me. That now sounds... Okay, so you can adjust the audio that's in there. I'm doing it with music, obviously you can do it with just spoken word as well. Another one that's worth mentioning under effect is the wah-wah effect. Not going to change any of the options in here, I'm just going to preview it and let you hear it. Okay, again, as a teacher, you could use that as a teaching tool to explain the whole concept of wah-wah, and the frequency and the phase and the depth and stuff are all adjustable from up here as well. I'm not going to set that. Okay, the last one I want to show you from here. Let me just I'll go back to Shaka, and I'll select an area from about there. Just check what she's doing. I forgot I made it quicker. Anyway, what I can do now is I can reverse it, which basically takes it and plays it backwards. Okay, so now if I play that selection. So you've got various options under the effects menu. There are lots of them in here to play with. The amplify we've already looked at. There's click removal. Sometimes if you have audio which is, in quotes, dirty, if it's got some kind of imperfections in it, you can sometimes remove those. Equalization, so you can adjust the amount of bass, treble and mid that's in your audio. Noise removal, if it's not so much clicks, it's more just general noise you want to remove, you can do that as well. Phasers, repeats, all sorts of stuff. Further down here, there's all sorts of other ones as well. Okay, so it's worth having a wee play with some of these. And remember, with anything to do with editing audio, there's no right and wrong, you can't get it wrong. If you do something that you think, oh, I don't like that, just undo it. So there's the last thing I did there was change that backwards. I'm going to undo that, takes it back to the way it was. And if all else fails, if you've imported audio, you can always delete it out, re-import it and start again. And the last thing to remember just about editing audio is that what you decide is correct. It might not be what I would decide or what your friend would decide or what your parents would decide, but it's irrelevant. It's your decision, therefore there's no right and wrong. So just enjoy yourself, have a play with some of these effects, and enjoy playing with Audacity. There's a lot you can do with it.